gotta leave it to the professionals.
Blessed by Gandhi, blah, blah, blah.
Started off with a bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Surfing on the web and I'm shooting at 3. I've been goated when I got my G. I'm an alien boy from a different planet, yeah. So I got my drink, I'm riding in the 1920s Model T Ford. Car era lore. Call me Levi playing on the keys, boy. And I'm about to put my gloves on. If I said it, then I meant that. Yeah, I like that one, I'm about to get that. Crash that whip for the drumsticks, whiplash. I'm about to get them all. Are you with that? In a white boat, surrounded by blue. I want one, but I got a cop too. I wanna fly high in the sky, arms out wide, trying to soar from a bird's eye view. I'm on fire, Ricky, Bobby, cracking the pavement, Whitney, Bobby. I'm a Saki bomb, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Bruce Wayne been a dog, and I keep it 101, cause I'm feeling kinda spotty. You sipping on some rock, and I'm sipping on octane. The only thing around my neck is the
Started off with a
blockchain.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
NFT, Twitter, blockchain. Seeing with the ghosts and we ballin' like LeBron James. Crypto. We can make a trade, get the memo. The feels not falling for the FOMO. Listening to Coffee with Captain. You know we worldwide, they loco. I ain't never gonna stop rapping. Orlando, yeah, we working magic. We rocking Ethereum entities. I just went and caught me a half base. Man, I gotta shout out
Started
the
off with a
boy.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Breaking the mood to choose one, but they got knowledge to move, son. I'm shocking in shades with my brother in suits, yeah, them blues is coming. Even though it's hard to pick, eeny, mighty, mo, soda on the mix, no biting lips, it's time to go. Index number 1, no thumbs up, you gotta scroll. Looking at the ghost in studio, it's time to go. Had a helmet on by myself until I met a mask that wanted to have a face off. So had to bring my chainsaw, full tank of gas in the ride with my brakes off. I'm A1, but a different kind of steak sauce.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeChain, where we dive into all things crypto, NFTs, Web3, and cutting-edge technology. Remember, nothing here is financial advice. Early-stage tech can be exceptionally volatile and risky. So grab your coffee and join Cap and Steve for today's conversation.
Welcome to the future.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain GM. Thanks so much for joining us. If you haven't already done so, do us a favor, drop us a GM in the chat down below. Then head up top, smash that like, repost, and bookmark on today's space. We greatly appreciate it. Warms up the algo, lets everyone know we're here, and does us a solid. We've got a special guest joining us at 9. Our newest sponsors. We'd love to have a full house pack for them. Some exciting news, some updates. Think you'll all enjoy, and would love to get things warmed up for them. As always, never any financial advice in the show. Meme coins are risky. Crypto is risky. NFT is exceptionally risky. All of them go to zero at the moment. Please don't put any money in you can't afford to lose. Know that Steve and I, like little tokens, we'll talk about here from time to time on the show. So don't follow us for financial advice. We're not financial advisors. Certainly not your financial advisors. Just join us for some fun, some information, some education along the way. GM Steve, how you doing, sir?
GM doing well. I had a busy weekend. Had a lot of work that I did this weekend, actually. My son's soccer team won, I think, 9-2 yesterday, which is nice. They stepped up divisions this year, and they've won their league a couple years in a row. They had to step up divisions, which was a little bit worrisome because we were worried that it wasn't ultimately going to end well for them because, look, this is a really good division. They've won their league twice in a row. They, have been, so-so, a lot of learnings, definitely a harder division, but won 9-2 yesterday, so that was good to see. Son almost scored, didn't quite get in there, though, wasn't quite up front for the goal. But GM to all you people out there, got a lot to talk about today. So do us a favor, give us a like, a retweet, a comment on the room. Booching, Thomas, Teacher Katie, Machiavelli, Von Frump, and Dwayne, Mato, and Diego over in the abstract chat. Appreciate y'all out there getting that going. To our chat in here, Bordo, Saka, Machiavelli, Von Fronten again, RDL, Hizzy over on the YouTube streets. Von Fronten is a consistent chatter of all of the major chats, which we very much appreciate. And we'll get over to the chat as well. But again, like, retweet, comment in the room, bookmark. You don't check your bookmarks anyway. Love to get the room warmed up. Discoverability has been a little bit slower as we've been getting it going. But 1 in a million, appreciate the kind words. Saw the DM this week. Appreciate you, Kazi, be epic. Again, Von Fronten out there. Mel getting in. Seems she is not happy. She was not number one. Digital Dad, Clay, Teacher Katie, Brick It All Across Things. General Wags always in the house. Micro, Maria, Clay, all of our good friends, Diablito out there. And look, Cap, we got a lot to talk about today, obviously. A lot going on. We have our newest sponsor. Appreciate all the love on that post that we got over the weekend. I'll pin that one up top here in a second.
Well,
But
like I don't even know how to say this because it's not a shot at our sponsors. Obviously, we're very grateful for the sponsorship, and we'll talk more about that a little bit. Beyond the sponsorship, though, like the responses on, I mean, both of our posts, but in particular, your post that went out first, like it really made my weekend to see the love and support we're getting from the community. That like we obviously think it's a good deal and a wise move for the ApeChain Foundation and all happenings over there. But to hear, I mean, very few things get almost near unanimous support, and I didn't see anyone give. Maybe they did in the DMs or the group chat somewhere, but I saw mostly love and people really excited about it, including this morning. So appreciate all the love, appreciate all the retweets, and really made me feel like we've been doing something the right way, Steve.
yeah, I think maybe like one or two people who had a thing or two to say, but generally speaking, it was I mean,
who are they? I'll go fund them. I'm kidding.
Oh, you can guess one of them, and they are
Bobby Saskatchewan.
No, I don't even know if that. I haven't checked because I have Bobby muted, but and don't follow. But I will say a person who's excited about the Moonbirds move, maybe who's been in and out of Moonbirds and ApeChain and all over the place, maybe had a little bit of a snarky comment.
I'm curious. I'm gonna have to go look because I don't. It's not clicking for me.
Yeah. Tiny little dog wearing a crown. But you'll see if you can figure it out. You see if you can connect some dots. I know things are going slow this morning a little bit because Cap's fighting through the pain. He wasn't feeling well this morning, but he's here anyway. But we shall ride on. But Cap, I think a lot to discuss today. I know we got a special guest. We got a daily market update to get to. We have a More You Know by ENS to get to. So I'm good to jump right into it because I have basically two main topics today.
I think we're going to disagree on one. I'm probably going to shock you on a stance on another. And, but yeah, go ahead. Take it wherever you like.
I mean, my two that I had, maybe it's not because I don't think we're going to disagree on any of them. I have one, which is Loud, and wanted to talk about some of the fallout we saw from that over the weekend. I saw some mixed reviews on how things went down, and then Moonbird selling to Orange Cap Games. Am I missing anything on your list though?
I mean, those are the big ones. I think the ApeCoin DAO conversation. I know we'll talk ApeChain and Foundation and all things, with our guest here today. But I do think I'm just going to say it. It seems to me like it's inevitable the ApeCoin DAO is going to get wound down. I don't know anything. I'm just going off of Garga's tweets and then Gordon's follow up. This has been rumored for a while. I felt this was going to happen, and after seeing the comments from Garga and Gordon over the weekend, it feels like it's heading that direction. Maybe I don't know if there's anything else to add to that right now until we get more information. It's just speculation and discussion, but nevertheless, very much so an adjacent. And hey, we were sponsored by the ApeCoin DAO previously. We've received grants. I personally, both of us have been supported by Thank Ape, which their funding for the ape related stuff comes from the DAO. So it's sad in that regard. Like, I'm not saying we wouldn't be here without the ApeCoin DAO, but it's absolutely helped our journey over the last couple of years.
We might not be here without the ApeCoin DAO. That was a big win for us at the time, actually. Like, that was a community. Like, I forget what the vote percentage was.
98%.
98% yes when we had put in for a sponsorship to the ApeCoin DAO. And it's like, I get it. Like, we're community members and we try to provide value and we always try to over deliver. And, even from Cap's perspective, we made the comment. It's kind of funny. A lot of people don't know this, but past our obligation with the ApeCoin DAO, by a time perspective, we actually kept doing our Made Boy ApeCoin Mondays because we had some ape builders cancel on us. And even though it was the ape builders who canceled on us, we wanted to make sure we fulfilled our obligation because community matters to us. The DAO matters to us. So you're right. Like, it has played a role in that journey, but seems that time is coming to an end potentially based on what we saw over the weekend, which I'm not like, I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm not against it, honestly. I'm not against the direction of it. So we shall see where that ends up going. But I don't know if there's more.
The chat told me who the hater. That doesn't even count. That's like if there's an irrelevant person on crypto Twitter, like that doesn't even count.
Got it. Yeah, you
It's
figured it out.
actually like him taking a negative stance on us being sponsored by. It's actually probably a net positive.
Bullshit. Yeah,
really into it.
Bullish
like, I mean, I'm not. We don't need to go there. I'm not trying to give that individual, but yeah, it's probably a positive that they would be the only counter voice to this.
Bullish AF, honestly, bullish AF. Also, who comes in on like a major announcement from somebody? Like, we're good dudes, we're good actors. We give that person and many others a stage. We're super kind. Who comes in an announcement and you're like, I'm super excited about this, and it's like, let me find a way to FUD. Like, who does that? Honestly, like I know somebody
people's opinions don't matter on CT. They do. They. I think it's part of. I don't want to say it's a bit. I know some people play character on here, and some people realize like their way for them to get attention and engagement is just to FUD shit or talk negatively about other people or have like probably oftentimes polarizing takes they don't even agree with. And I guess kind of just because I know we got a lot going on this morning, to use that to segue right into the loud conversation. I don't think it's quiet. I've continued the conversation. Actually, I missed the first half of Modern Market because I was in a space that or a live stream that Chillpill was hosting. I think the best thing that came out of this loud experiment, which it was, like from the jump, they said it was an experiment, it was a social experiment. I'm the token, if you missed it, like the quick review when it dropped, they did the pre-sale like overnight, like I think it was like 1 a.m. American East Coast time when it first launched. I think it ran up to maybe like, I don't know, maybe 30 million on a candle. Quickly settled down to about 11 million. Then it ran back up to about, I don't know, maybe 15 million over the last 24 hours, back down to like 11 and a half. It appears, I shared this with you in a text, the chart very much so looks like the 11 million line has been supported. And I said that like 4 a.m. on Saturday, I guess it was, and it's held through. So their market makers, their team, whoever it is, someone is supporting the $11 million line. That won't last forever, but I felt pretty comfy going to sleep holding last night because it just didn't feel like they're going to let it break down below this mark. And I think we're going to hear some announcement. Maybe not. Maybe that was the end of the experiment. But why I think, honestly, the biggest winner out of this is Kaido. This was by far the best stress test that Kaido has seen. And they're not perfect. There's a lot of critique. And I don't know that they would have got here this fast without the loud experiment. And they do need to make some tweaks to their algorithms. So people have called, like, it's the best thing that we've seen so far from my perspective, as far as objectively quantifying mind share and attention on this app. One of the things I found interesting, impressions are not part of the equation. Were you aware of this?
No, I was not.
So impressions don't count in the algo, which is, I don't know how they're doing it if they're not counting impressions, but you put out a good article this morning. Yeah, I don't think it's quiet. My timeline, maybe our timeline is very different. Like I've kind of stayed in the loud conversation since pre-sale, and I'm genuinely like, yes, I held my bag. I didn't sell any. It's like, I'm not one who's going to, like, there's people on the timeline who's like, I can't believe everyone did this for free. Like, what do you, get off your high horse? I also clap back at some people respectfully. I'm like, what's wrong with you? Why are you taking shot? Like, how is this, like, who chooses what's cool to talk about on X and who chooses what's cringe to talk about on X? More like, I kind of expected the airdrop after I saw where I ranked when I tweeted about it once, and it actually hit about, like, I was expecting somewhere between 10 and 50 million. I thought that was a reasonable range. It's on the low end of that. It's still like $3,000. I like June 1st, I had a $3,500 Boop airdrop, which I immediately cashed out and sent to the bank. And I had a $3,000 loud claim that I'm just sitting on. It's like $7,500, $7,000 on the 1st of June for talking on X. I'm not a independently wealthy person where $7,000 doesn't mean something to me. Like, we get brand deals. I don't think any of them add up to $7,000 for a couple tweets. And so, like, that is, and you don't have to participate. It really felt cringe, those that were taking shots on people where, and again, I'm trying to say this without sounding like an asshole, like $3,000 is still a fair amount of money. Like, Loopify had a post I retweeted that put it in perspective. If you've got $1 million in your trading account, for the effort it took to get that $3,000, it was a wise investment of your time. It was, a good return on your money. for almost zero capital, or like $30 to turn it into $3,000. Like, who's turning their nose up at 100x unless you're part of the vape cabal that's actually scamming and extracting from the space? Like, $3,000 is still a material amount of money. It pays mortgages for in most parts of the world. All that to be said, the attacks on, like, again, I don't care if you didn't participate, but to judge other people, and most of the people I saw judging were people who get paid to talk on this app. They get paid to talk about things that they think are important. But you're going to judge other people who are getting paid to talk on this
Not
app.
that even they think are important. They get paid to talk. So
they get paid to talk about things that are people that are paying them. Some are protocols. Some of it's fucking engagement farming. Like, it blew my mind how aggressive some of these people got, because I know some of the things they've gotten paid for. I'm like, dude, what is wrong with you? Like, how are you going to, and whereas my mind, like, did I appreciate the $3,000? Yes, absolutely. I appreciated my loud claim. I was glad I hit the leaderboard. Dude, I was freaking proud. I was proud of us, Steve. I was more excited about Diego and Thomas. Like, that's awesome. I'm not like trying to, like, I saw what I saw on the leaderboard. I saw some of my friends in the top 25 that the reason they played the game is because it wasn't for $3,000. They're shoot right now. It's, I don't know, $400,000 that they're battling to get their share of. It's a lot of money. I'm pumped for my friends in the top 25. I'm even more excited for some of the up and coming content creators that told us they weren't going to participate. We encouraged them, hey, this looks like a leaderboard. You might actually can if you have a small account. And that's what I saw. I saw a lot of small accounts who are like salamander shout out, like wannabe content creators, or said, hey, I can do this. And they did the thing and they got paid. That's a lot of money for, like, the fact that people are going to judge other people for collecting a $3,000 check for talking on this app. Get off your fucking high horse. Seriously. Because there's a lot of people who you're now making them question, maybe not a lot are questioning, they're happy about it, but there's some people probably question, did I do the right thing? Because people they look up to are judging them when they're doing almost the exact same thing with their timeline and their followers. It's just, they're getting paid directly for it. Not, oh, I might make money for it. Like, I don't know. I felt like very poor form. And I'll say this out loud. I'm not going to single anyone out, but I clapped back a few comments. I thought people were being pretty aggro and not fully, like, there was absolutely some 2023 engagement forming. Are you active right now? Like this post, give me a comment. I'll give you a smart follow back. Like, there was some very cheesy cringe engagement farming. And a couple of those people got paid. There's a couple of them in the top 25 that probably shouldn't be there. That's, again, back to my earlier statement. Kaido's the biggest winner here if they take the information in and they make the appropriate changes, because it was the best stress they could have had. And I become more bullish on Kaido over the weekend after I saw this thing play out, knowing that they've got a ways to go. Let me rephrase that. I became more bullish on InfoFi. Kaido's not perfect. They'll either get it right or someone else is going to come and eat their lunch. It's just, they have a very big first mover advantage right now.
Yeah, I think there's two things here. I think there's one where, I mean, I'll say this. I had said this, and I'll kind of share, a sort of like a tweet that I had put out over the weekend. I pinned it to the top, but basically the point that I made was, like, I have never seen more of a disconnect from CT and the real world, and our expectations are out of whack. Now, to be fair, you told me 50 million was conservative on this show last week, so we were pretty juiced up on this thing. But my guess was 35 to 50 million. It was lower than that. But I think that there's a couple of things here. I think number one, your point that you made there is sound. The fact
the experiment was not, can we run this meme coin up to $500 million market cap? The experiment, what they set out to do, can we capture attention on crypto Twitter? Can we capture mind share? They absolutely did that. It's a massive W to Loud. It's a massive W to Kaido. That was they never said, oh, we're going to run this thing up to $1 billion market cap. They said, can we capture attention? That was the plan, and they did it. And hey, the thing is, like, do we understand how hard it is to create something out of thin air and it have an $11 million market cap? That's why crypto Twitter is so disconnected, because they saw the meme coin trenches, which were extremely manipulated. Never, like, like Fartcoin, that's legit. Most of the shit that ran up to $100 million, it was pure scam pumps. We haven't seen a scam pump in Loud yet. I do believe the floor is being maintained, but we haven't seen the scam pump yet. I think there's a chance we still see one, but I think they accomplished their goal. It's also like day 7. Like, they may do more stuff, maybe not. But what gets me most excited, Steve, is they proved they can capture attention. I don't think it's the last initial attention offering we'll see. I'm really excited. Like, if you want to get my support behind an initial attention offering, do it that's going to launch or fund a real world business, and there's going to be some sort of fee share there. I will be all in. I think this is a path. It's the most egalitarian approach to rewarding your supporters, both large and small accounts.
So I think that there's two things here. I think on one side of it, I agree with you. On the other side, I probably disagree. On the side I agree with you on, I think that people who are basically guilt tripping and shaming those in the top 1,000 is out of line. Number one, go to a normie friend who doesn't exist in Web3. Go to somebody who's outside of Web3 and say, guess what? For 48 hours, you can tweet a couple times about this thing. And again, I know some people tweeted 50 times, some people tweet 20, whatever it is. You could tweet for 2 days about something, and you could turn $30 into $3,000. That is a 100x. People sit there and stare at screens in the trenches to get a 100x, just shooting for it for days. People got it for tweeting for a few days. Second of all, to your other point, some of these people who are judging those are the ones who have brand deals that then don't always disclose well.
Everyone judging, I know they've had, maybe not a current brand deal. Every single person I saw judging, 100% of them, I'm 99% certain they've accepted brand deals at some point or another to get paid to tweet about things on X. And I don't know, maybe they disclosed it properly, but I also know that a good chunk of them had not disclosed brand deals they've been paid for in the past.
Well, and I love our guy Kermit, but I just thought his take was so off base, and I know maybe it was an engagement farm, but the fact that his take came across as
I clap back. You want to go see your friend? I clap back, and he agreed. Like, he actually said, "Hey, of all the hate I've gotten, Chris, I agree with you. This actually makes sense."
He agreed with what I said too, but he's still, I mean, it worked because obviously he's getting paid by X, so he's getting paid to tweet. What do you know? But like, he put out a tweet that basically said like, oh, like these influencers, went and they got paid only for they only got paid $200 a tweet or $300.
So
it's like,
the math was so bad.
Like, you're basically saying, even if it was $30 a tweet, but he was saying for $250 a tweet for some of these people were actually saying it was bad that somebody got paid $250 because he respects them less, who was previously making like $2,500 a tweet, which I know that wasn't the point of what he was trying to say, and he said it was the wrong takeaway, but it came across a little bit like, I respect these large creators less because they can get paid way more for the tweet than they did for this, and they mucked up the timeline.
I've also said this in a few comments, kind of indirectly. I think Kaido and InfoFi is the biggest threat that these agencies and these content creators who have been paid $2,500 plus to send a tweet, like that's gone. And he even said, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not charging for tweets, but he's done it in the past. That is gone. Like, you're not getting, like, I don't think anyone's going to pay anyone $2,500 to send a tweet anymore. I shouldn't say that. There are. It'll probably be people that are paying Cook to fund their competition. But I think it's definitely seen a big ding. Most of the getting paid to tweet is gone because it's just not nearly as effective as running a campaign with Kaido. Is it more expensive? Yes. But there's also other options now. There's Cookie, there's Wallchain. Ansem just jumped in Wallchain. That's going to take off. If Cook and I said this too, I see our friends from, I think our friends from ApeChain are out there. I'm not sure if anyone's working with the quacks, but if Futters get on the top of that ApeChain leaderboard, then it's broken. Like, I just like, so I said it was the best stress test we've seen. Some of the other stuff we saw is what actually is configurable on the Kaido end. How can they tweak, whether it's the loyalty program or the sentiment. So more is coming out. And yeah, I think the biggest threat to Web3 marketing agencies who have been charging 4, 5, 6, in some cases 7 figures, not for a single text or a single tweet, but for campaigns to support these brands. I think most of them are really concerned that Kaido's eating their lunch, and I would guess they probably are.
Well, so again, I think that there's a lot of jumping off points here. I agree with that, and I do see that. And again, that's part of the problem is I saw people who were just being like very self-righteous about it, who I'm like, I know you've gotten a lot of money to tweet about stuff in the past.
It's like, think about that. If you're a protocol, would you, and you got a $100,000 marketing budget, would you rather give that to one individual or a group of 3, 4, 5 individuals to tweet about you for a few weeks? Or would you rather get 72% of the entire space tweeting about you? I mean, it's just not even,
but I
think you have a conversation seriously.
I think there's probably, and maybe I'll put a pin in it because I know we got some hands here, and I'll make the second point because I just do think like there's probably a discussion here to say like I think Kaio's refinement is they're going to have more refined campaigns. Like that's one of my takeaways from here. Give more actions, sort of take more activities, almost like a mirror of a normal rewards program where you get people to take actions you want to take that are more specific on a week-to-week or month-to-month basis. I do think, though, that this is actually bearish on the intention offering model. Not if they, not bearish on Kaio and how they can potentially do this, but if you get 72% of the timeline talking about something and you launch at an $11 million market cap or whatever it is, I mean, I sold it like 12 or 13. I'm not saying that's anything to sneeze at, but for the amount of attention it took up, I don't think that is a positive thing for if the next one comes around and it's not as favorable in the tokenomics, well, then who's going to want to participate for 72% to be like, oh, okay, so then I'll turn my $30 into $100 for a few days. And I think that there is a diminishing returns on that. So I don't think getting the entire timeline talking for 72% of the timeline, and then you follow it up with the 10x or the 100x was awesome. I think that part is good, but I don't think that the market cap is reflective of what you would have expected.
I don't think the market. I think I sure you're not wrong. I just don't think it's a meme coin. How many other meme coins went from 0 to 11
But you
million
yourself last week said 50 million was conservative.
I was wrong. We were wrong about Doodles too. We've been basically it hit about, I thought most likely was around 30 million. I think I can go back and check the tape, but I think I agreed 30 million is probably
after pre-markets came out. We both said I said 35 million. You said 30 million. So even by that standard, it was a third of what you expected.
That's we're closer to that than we were Doodles. Every drop has disappointed for the last several months. It's just every claim or airdrop rather has missed expectations.
Doodles was about 50% of the expectation, I think as well. So it was about the same.
I just don't I don't know if that's indicative of what did we really expect? Now, if
72% of the timeline is talking about something, I expected it higher than 11 million. That's just, I mean, I think that is a bearish indicator.
If you zoom out, what is the real difference between 11 million and 30 million? They still
3x.
But it's I don't think that makes it a successful or it would have been more successful campaign.
I think it was successful at getting attention. I think that it is not. I think you will see less interest.
Who would if they didn't do this campaign, if they didn't capture attention when they dropped it without using this campaign? What do you think it's at? Do you think anyone's even talking about indie buyers?
But I think that's playing. I think that's a different question. The question I'm answering is, do I think that this is going to be a new meta? And my answer is no, because I think that initial attention offerings, I think there's going to be a diminishing returns. If the first biggest, most important one with everybody talking about it came out at 11 million market cap, I don't think that is a bullish indicator on the next one, which is a copy of the copy and a copy of the copy of the copy.
If it's a copy of the copy and it's the same thing, yeah, it's not going to do anything. My thinking, though, is it's just the beginning, and the next one we see is not another meme coin. It's actually someone launching, like what I said. If now someone launch a real pump fund competitor with an initial attention offering, I truly believe had Boop done this model, it would have performed very different. Someone said, because I think it was Board Elon said that. I put it on a post someone do a pump fund competitor, launch it with an initial attention offering, and let's see what happens then. He said, I think that was Boop, and no, Boop really fumbled the ball bad. Boop was really no different than everything that came prior, and that it really only rewarded, the people who are already viewed as the KOLs for the most part. This was I don't know. I think we'll see a lot more of this. I think it will be more you'll see protocols, you'll see dApps, you'll see, maybe it's not a meme launcher. I think we'll see different sorts of businesses use this. At the end of the day, it's still the team, the product, to keep attention. There has to be or maybe it is just vibes and community, but there's got to be something there that's to keep attention after you get it. They prove they can capture attention. And
no, I agree with that point. I think that's but what I'm saying, I don't know. I think Mesh says, I think that's the key. The number of people talking about it didn't reflect the actual interest in the token. So there either has to be refinements, but I don't think people will be as excited to participate. Now, look, if they do a similar distribution to the next one, I'm all in and we can do it again. But what happens when the next one comes out and it's, $500,000 market cap? And it's okay, there will be a point when it becomes, what is it worth the time? But I think we lost Joey. He probably had to go to the gym. So let's do this. Let's go to Jonah on this one, and then we will we'll jump into probably daily market update, more and then we talk a little Moonbirds before we get the ApeChain friends up here. But Jonah, GM.
Yeah, GM, you mentioned that Web3 marketing agencies are scared. I happen to run one of those. I don't feel that at all. Like, I think
I view your
that's a
agency
very
very
rudimentary understanding of how these things work. I'm not trying to be offensive. I'm just saying.
No,
like,
I don't take any
there's a
offense at
lot
all.
of
I
that.
view your agency as very different than the one. I know what you do, and I'm not including you in that reference. There's
Oh yeah. By the way, I'm not even insulted. Like look, if it was a threat, I would tell you. Like I'm not. I'm pretty.
Yeah, but you're like I think the cap. I think
that like Kaito doesn't solve for middle and bottom funnel, and it barely solves for top of funnel. It's a very useful tool
do you
for
agree
mind share, but that's one factor.
Right, but do you agree that there's other agencies that's what they are attempting to solve for is the top of funnel mind share, and they charge 6 and 7 figure checks to go get that? Like I'm not saying that
I won't name names, but there's only 2 that do that, and one of the 2 are not gonna have any problem. I know the founder of one of those 2, and I think I know what name you're referring to, and I don't know. I saw a picture of the guy buying $10,000 sandals in Dubai, so I think he'll be fine. And they have a special formula that I'm aware of that like you have to understand that if how do I say this without doxing or like revealing any secrets that I'm not allowed to share? Like if an agency specializes in mind share, they have enough people in their cabal to shift it regardless of Kaito. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, but is that as effective as it was pre-Kaito? I don't think it is.
They were losing their effectiveness regardless of Kaito.
Okay, so we agree there, and I think it's accelerating.
All I'm saying is that the Cadillac, maybe Kaito expedites it, but it wasn't Kaito that killed it.
All right, you're probably right then. I actually agree with Jonah for once because I heard some similar grumble.
The problem
I think there's probably some people that went
for
that
this
route.
Particular firm, the problem is that you keep seeing the same faces run the same game, and the only way the game works is if the only way it works is if the audience doesn't know a game is being played, right? Because it needs to look organic, but because the audience isn't big enough here, and you keep seeing the same faces run the same playbook, you start to catch on to the game even as a normal person passerby. So like the game is diminishing returns, and that has nothing to do with Kaito.
I think it does though. Here's where I so agree with you in principle. Like I think that we're splitting hairs at that point because I think that one of the things I've seen is more people like I think part of Cap's point is some of the people who are like being super judgy about Loud over the weekend, not a particular agency, but a lot of these groups are the people who have been paid a lot of money to tweet. And it feels a little bit like it's like, hey, that 6-figure marketing budget used to go to me. And now it's going to this other thing. Now, again, is it expedited? And I actually agree wholeheartedly with the point. And I made this point actually about Kaito too, where there's this combination happening right now where I see Kaito getting really hot. I see people getting the same brand deals and promoting the same things, and it's the same faces. And again, for me personally, I'm like, go get your money and win. I'm not a judgy person on this. I've been consistent. I don't think that if somebody tweets about Portal Coin or anything else, you're all good. Do your thing. Go get paid. I'll mute it if I feel like muting it. The button's always there. But I also think that there is something to be said about the fact that, these budgets are moving elsewhere. And I did think, I said this before even this whole Loud Coin thing, that there is this movement towards a lot of people are getting frustrated with seeing the same people get the same sort of pump with the same faces. And to your point, people
started getting paid. They got really mad about it. It's like,
right.
Come on.
Well, and it's not, and I agree with Jonah's point that like, if it's like a dozen or so people who are consistently getting all the things, at some point people say, I don't know if I buy with, it's one of the reasons why we try to only take on sponsors or work with people and have turned down like north of 6 figures of sponsors we don't agree with for our audience, because we're like, if we just talk about everything.
Let me provide a counterpoint to that because, like I've paid a lot of creators Kaito is not changing or taking away money from people at the top who are getting paid those deals. In fact, they're still getting paid those deals. So what you're saying is true and false in the sense that the reason that an audience will get annoyed with a creator who is getting the same deal over and over, it has nothing to do with the deal in and of itself. It has to do with the preconceived context that the creator gives to their audience. For example, you just made this statement. You said, we don't take that many brand deals and we try to take it with people that we trust, right? So now you've set up an expectation with your audience that you're going to follow through on that principle. But then there are other people, and I think this is a great example, ICO Beast, who are still getting those six-figure offers consistently, and they can take many deals. And the reason why is ICO Beast has a different preconceived notion. He says, I'm here to make a lot of money. If you want to follow me in the way I'm trading, enjoy that. I'm going to give some really interesting insight, but know that I am somewhat of a mercenary. But when I am a mercenary, I'm going to respect the people that I'm hired by. I'm going to do my best to do that job. And so, in his context, with his preconceived notion, his audience fully expects him to take deals, and quite frankly, in many ways, celebrate it because they know what they're getting, and he's telling you what he's going to do. And so, I think what happens is there's a lot of creators in Web3 who talk a large moral game, but when it comes time to cash in that moral check, it becomes very ambiguous because they didn't really mean the things they said. So the reason why Kaito is destroying a lot of creators is not because of Kaito the machine. It's because the creator never set expectations and didn't think long term about making content, and now their results are coming home to roost.
Yeah, I actually there's certainly people at the top who are going to still do okay there, but I'm positive, actually, like factually positive, that there are people who are getting money taken out of their pockets who previously would have gotten it based on some of the brands that are working with Kaito. So I would counterpoint it with that to say, like, no, I'm not going to. I'm not going to name anybody on stage, but I know that there are ones where the deals went to a social or a InfoFi over those, and so like there are instances where that's happening, and I do think there is a threat there.
I'll name one. I don't care. I don't give a shit. So here's one that I think is making a lot of money on Abstract, but I think they're probably getting less money lately because of just the way they make content. Is Elisa from the Abstract world? There is a group. Let's call them the Dubai Gaming Cabal. I was friends with them. I think I'm still friends with them to a degree, and I'm not going to completely badmouth them. But you have Sanjay, Elisa, and YP. Well, YP's more in Malaysia now. I'm pretty sure all three of those individuals are getting much less deals because, quite frankly, the way they took deals was, and I've paid all three of them, the way they took deals was very like mercenary, and the way they created expectations did not match the result.
Yeah, that is so that's and I think that kind of hits on the point in how you move matters in the long term. And I've always sort of moved with a long-term vision in the future. It doesn't always like hit from a as much money, and like sometimes I'm like, man, could have made a lot more money if I had less morals. But I love that you're naming one. I'm like, as soon as you said that, I'm like, because Jonas worked with them and he knows, and like, and like the back end, so you kind of understand the point that I'm making. And I think that at the end of the day, those at the top, you mentioned ICO Beast. I think ICO Beast, I don't agree with all ICO's takes, but I know ICO shoots from the hip. He's honest, and he actually has some strong intelligence and brings a lot to the table. I think people like that are going to continue to win, and that's where I think merit will matter, because brands will somewhat look. I mean, I'm saying this on a day when we announced an ApeChain sponsorship, which I know you're not the biggest fan of at times, but we announced
I'm in a position now where, quite frankly, I don't care. Like, I didn't like the past leadership, but I've already had private conversations with Garga, and we're all good. Everything's fine there. I have no issues with it.
Love to hear that. And the truth is, like, it's like, why? Because it makes sense, because it's somewhere we participate. We've been in the Ape ecosystem for a long time. Like, we saw the results to our announcement showed that a lot of people are like, wow, this makes so much sense. And it was a deal where it's like, we've been careful about who we've worked with. And that sometimes causes a lot of stress financially when you're trying to get by as a content creator. But I think in the long run, what it means is that I would rather get by and pay my bills and maybe not be buying, $25,000 sandals in Dubai, but I'm able to do my job, go to sleep at night, and feel good about it with my brand deals. So I think like that's the thing that we've kind of looked at and how we've done things with consulting and brand deals.
Most creators don't have the EQ you have, and most of them are like I don't even like using the word creators. We'll call them mercenary. Mercenary. I need to find a better word, but I feel like the word creator has been really bastardized in this space because having worked with real creators from Web 2 and the few that exist here in Web 3, I would not call most of these people creators. I don't know what the word would be, but they're not creators.
Yeah, it's people who've built, they're influencers. Honestly, I think influencer is the correct term because they influence people's activity. Thus, people give them brand deals and they do go. We've called it mercenary capital for a long time and how people go about things. And I think that it is absolutely the case with a lot of them. So I think this might just be the space maturing and the rubber hitting the road a little bit when it comes to this stuff. But I do like the egalitarian approach of Kaido in how they're doing it. And I think this is the lowest form that we'll see of Kaido. It's only going to get better, assuming that they don't get too greedy. So agree with you on that as well. That said, let's do this, Cap. Let's go ahead and get to our first sponsored daily market update, and then we'll do more, shortly after that, hit on Moonbirds before we get some folks from ApeChain on here. But good conversation this morning on, I think, where creators are going. So I'll play us in, and I'll hand it to you for our daily market update, sponsored by ApeChain.
It's a daily market update straight to your brain. Powered by ApeCoin, no hype, just gains. Moving on ApeChain, we bring in the heat. NFTs, fence alpha, never miss a beat. ApeChain on top, now we bringing the flex. The home of NFTs, these now what's next. Come on, my head top, but you want the time to chop for one time.
And now it's time for the daily market update powered by ApeCoin, the home of NFTs. ApeChain has it all, bringing culture, fun, and community to the blockchain. Dive in and see why ApeChain is on top. Cap.
We're going to start with majors here. Looking at Bitcoin, 104. I don't know why they took my, I guess flat, 104.056. ETH, $2,487. XRP, 214. Solana, 153.66, up 1%. Doge, 18 cents, up 1%. Cardano, 67 cents, up 1%. Majors pretty much flat across the board. If we scroll up here and look at memes, not a lot of movement there either. And our top movers on the day, when we talk about trading NFTs, we will get into this a little bit. Moonbirds up 31% on the day to 0.87 ETH. Abstract Universe, not familiar. I'm guessing it's a newer one. It did do 72 ETH in volume to 0.01 floor price. Basically flat on the day. Doodles up 12%. I'm not sure what led to that pump, but 1.19, almost 1.2 ETH on 72 ETH of volume. The gotcha weapon. Apparently, I don't. You know more about this than me, Steve. But 61 ETH of volume there. 0.014 on the floor price. Miladies basically flat at 2.58. Good Vibes Club down a little bit on the day. Did they break 1 ETH or no?
I think they broke 1 ETH momentarily, and then they had a little bit of a pullback down to 0.9, but still a epic run that they've had, especially, and I'm excited about them. I'm actually going to drop their interview on our show later today or tomorrow, so big one there.
True question. 1.25 ETH falls in your wallet, and you have to buy an NFT with it. You got to hold it for a year. Are you picking up a Doodle, a Good Vibes Club, or a Moonbird?
Good Vibes Club. Just because. I mean, I want to.
For me.
So this is true story, and they just like say that was our daily market update brought to you by ApeChain. We'll talk a lot more about that here in a minute. But I think just jumping right into that, Steve, I would have said the same thing Friday. Really bullish on Spencer. It's funny, I'd sent him a DM and I realized we'd connected the first, like my last DM was to Spencer was November of 2021. We met in line going on to the yacht party. It was like was one of those connections at a you know, an NFT event. We followed each other.
So
We sent an email.
October 31st, just so you know, just to be like clear on this, what Cap is talking about is Halloween 2021. The Bored Ape Yacht Club threw a actual yacht party. It was actually, shout out Josh Ong, I believe it was his idea that he came up with. He basically came up with Ape Fest when you hear about how he wanted to throw that whole thing. But and worked with Gargan, obviously Gordon on it and stuff, and they were open to it. They just had the mutant sale. But Cap on the 31st of October in 2021, so 4 years ago.
4:04 p.m. He sent me a Spencer DM. He said, "Great to meet you in line today. See you at the yacht party tonight. Also, I'll let you know if I hear any other good stuff this week." And I said, "Likewise," and that was it. Like, so it's like it like made me realize, Steve, like how wild this space is at times. Like there was a connection. Like I didn't know him from anyone different in this space whatsoever. We remain following each other. I'm sure we've maybe interacted on the timeline a little bit. We just never connected beyond that, though, right? There's some people. I think of your similar interaction with Von Front in that same year. He's become one of our good friends. Like, it was just one of the, you meet so many people in 2021 was such a wild time. It just made me think like, wow, I wonder if I had sent another follow-up text the next week to Spencer or like the trajectory, like who you connect with in this space. Like I probably would have been a lot deeper in Pudgy Penguin. Like it's wild how sometimes like it was a connection I made. Nothing like, and not that I had any expectations whatsoever. Just connected at someone like how different were both of our lives on October 31st, 2021. And so yeah, anyways, I where I was going with this, I caught a space yesterday. It was actually Loki. Shout out to Loki out there in the audience. If you missed it, I would encourage everyone to go back and listen. If you're curious to hear from Spencer, we'll get him. We'll try to get him on the show here at some point as well. But it was just, it made me really bullish, and it had nothing to do with Moonbirds. I like betting on people, and I don't even want to quote it because I won't do it justice, but I kid you not, like he made me get questioning my own thoughts on the meaning of life. And I'm not going to go all deep on it. It's just like, he's, I think, a real quality human. I think he's a good builder in this space. And when we first heard the acquisition, I said, win-win-win for all parties involved. I think it's great for Moonbird's community. I think it's good for Spencer and his team and Orange Cap Games. And I think it's great for Yuga. Like this focus on their core, I think is I'd love to hear it. So I hold a mythic. It happens to be like a semi-rare one. So, but it's not like it does something for my bags other than I'm really, I see it was a good move. And I was impressed with Spencer. Makes me bullish on what they may do with it. And I'm not running out and buying a Moonbird, but I'm not selling my mythic. And yeah, I think this is a good win for the space. And I don't know, maybe nothing comes out of it, but yeah. I did reply instantly. I just didn't
Von
say
Friend today on Coffee with Captain. Cap takes 3.5 years to reply to a DM. Also, by the way, before we do it, I'm going to pop into more about Moonbirds here for those who maybe, because we do have some newer listeners who haven't been around for the whole ride of this thing. So I'm going to put that in. Also want to say shout out to the Abstract Chat. They are jamming on the new ApeChain tune. So appreciate y'all giving love to that. We always want to give love to our new sponsors and enjoying the new tune. So love that people are noticing that. But let's do the More You Know, brought to you by ENS. And then I will talk a little bit about Moonbirds, in my opinion, on that as well before we get to our guests.
The More You Know, brought to you by ENS.
Time for the More You Know, brought to you by our friends over at ENS. And we are talking Moonbirds right now. If you're not familiar with the history of Moonbirds, it was a crazy hype launch. They launched in April 2022 from Kevin Rose and the Proof Collective. Minted at 2.5 ETH, they sold out instantly and generated hundreds of millions within days. The project quickly became one of the most hyped NFT launches ever. And at the peak, Moonbird number 2642, believe it was a glitch one with diamond eyes, sold for 350 ETH. That is over $1 million. Then came a turning point. The art moved to CC0, making it public domain. That sparked backlash from holders who felt blindsided, thinking their commercial rights were devalued, something promised during the mint. In 2024, Yuga came and purchased Proof, acquiring Moonbirds to fold them into Otherside. But just last week, Yuga sold Moonbirds to focus more on their core to Orange Cap Games, a crypto-native gaming studio, and the result, a massive surge in the floor price, a renewed excitement around the brand, as they'll still be in Otherside. ApeChain has the rights to on-chain activity, and they will have a keen focus from Orange Cap Games. From explosive hype to controversy, and now a potential comeback, Moonbirds is one of the most fascinating stories in NFTs. And that was The More You Know, brought to you by ENS, not just anchoring your name across Web3, but anchoring it across the internet. It's your identity, simple, memorable, and unmistakably yours. Security, interoperability, and ease of use. Go to ens.domains to secure your ENS domain today. And Cap, I'll just say this. I agree with you. Like, my initial take on it was pretty straightforward. I thought it was an easy win-win-win that I saw based on this acquisition. Like, to me, it was like, look, you get Yuga having, first of all, like, I mean, off the bat, I shouldn't sell Spencer short there. Orange Cap Games is well positioned to bring their IP to life. We had Teaser and J-Rob on the show. They're doing a partnership with OCG, which is pretty cool. So to me, I think that that's a really good fit, right? Like, we're excited to see what they've done and how they've done it. Huge win for ApeChain, in my opinion, because they got L2 exclusivity for all on-chain activities. We saw what they've done previously with the Pudgy Gaming, with the OCG had done with the Huddle cards. I don't know why I'm blanking on the actual name of the Vibes. So you see what they did with Pudgy Vibes cards and how they're doing that, and there's an on-chain activity that exists with that. So that's big for ApeChain. Yuga continues to sharpen its focus on its core priorities. I think that's bullish for people in the club and sort of, who are interested in that, including ourselves. And Moonbirds are still going to have 3D avatars in the other side. So I just think overall, like, win-win-win, it was the right move. I'd have to look it up. I'm not trying to do an old takes thing and do a victory lap, but I believe it was last October I said that I thought that Moonbirds would be the next IP that they would sell off and proof as it made sense. And did get some pushback from some people on that one, but I think a lot of people agreed. And I do think that there is a really, really positive momentum there with Moonbirds. Now, it's interesting because you're saying you're going to hold your Mythic. I'm probably moving my Mythic out of my cold wallet at some point in the next couple of days and selling it because there's been a run up. Because as much as it's cool to have exposure to that ecosystem, I don't necessarily want to play that game. And I sort of had my feelings hurt by Moonbirds enough. Although I am probably going to alpha test Dig. Don't judge me. And yeah, I know. There's like a small alpha test group, and I like the new tech, so I'm probably going to try it. Everyone's going to judge me in the space. I am curious, though. I know we still got Joan on stage. You said you would go Moonbird over Good Vibes Club if you had to hold it for the next year, 18 months with that money. What gets you excited about Moonbirds? Like, what do you think about OCG and Spencer, Jonah?
Yeah, I've known Spencer for a long time. I knew him in the Clubhouse days, and I think I'm the reason he bought his first ape, because we did I don't know if they weren't called spaces back then, but him and I were on some like venture or whatever nonsense space, and I showed him the NFT and crypto stuff, and then he did it. He did it on his own in an amazing way, and he's become one of the biggest successes in the industry by far. And I just know that he doesn't give up. I know his background. I know what he's willing to do. I know that he knows what it takes to be successful, and I've always believed in founders first, and he's got a maniacal focus. And I also know that Spencer is extremely dedicated to TCGs. He is a gamer through and through when it comes to TCGs. He knows the TCG space. He knows how it works. He knows people in it. He was like a higher rank, like upper echelon card player himself. So I feel like he knows his ecosystem well, and he's also made a lot of money in his fund and the stuff he did with Pudgy Penguins. And I imagine what he learned from doing that he'll take to Moonbirds. And so, again, you can buy any NFT for the sake of art. If it was just for the sake of art, then probably Good Vibes Club. I think it looks really good, but if I'm looking at a founder, I have no idea what Good Vibes will do in the future. Doodles has already been kind of played out, even though the art is amazing. And Moonbirds has a narrative with speculation behind it, which gives it, some future value.
For me, Steve, the tricky part was the year. I would be somewhere between a Moonbird and a Good Vibes Club. I have a lot of faith, conviction in Chris and Tyler and the Good Vibes team. I'm bullish on Spencer. I don't know. It might be a coin flip between those two, and they're also.
I mean, the other answer is just don't buy any. I said which one I would pick if I had to choose. I'm just not buying NFTs for $2,000 a pop right now. I'd much rather, like, I think right now what we're seeing on Abstract are IP coins. For example, I'm up like, I don't know, I'm up 15 grand on one of them, with only putting, 2K in. And they're basically derivatives of Pudgy Penguin, but there's like Grumpy Penguin, there's Ski Mask Penguin, there's Retspa, there's Polly the Penguin, there's Dark Pengu, there's Pangooner, and they almost work like NFTs, where because Abstract has just a really great platform to house them, they're integrated in pretty much all of the games, including the one I made, right? And it's just it's a different take on NFTs to a degree where they're not necessarily meme coins and they're not necessarily NFTs. There's something in the middle without being a 404. And I think it's just the way that Abstract is built as a platform that allows that to happen.
You're muted, Steve. We got your back.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead, Cap.
So I think I too, like, I'm not buying either today, but I hold two Good Vibes. I hold the Mythic. I'm just gonna hold both. Why hold the Mythic instead of selling on the run up is I'm here to support builders. I'm here for this idea that really, quite frankly, I realize is probably negative AV, probably never going to see a return on that. But Spencer's a builder. He's already shipped games. I believe he'll, whether it's another card game or something else, I believe he'll ship another game with this Mythic IP. And whereas the Moonbird is CC0, I have IP rights there. And my Mythic is a rare one. So I see it. There's a range of outcomes where he does another TCG game and it is a massive hit. And the Mythic I have ends up being one of the cards in there, and I get a small rev share for licensing my IP. I want to see more of that. And this isn't a shot at Pudgy. They're, I think, probably the leaders in terms of licensing IP from their holder base. Candidly, I thought we'd see a lot more just like data and like I couldn't tell you what one person that's licensed their Pudgy, how much they've gotten in return for that. I'm assuming it's not been that much, because otherwise we'd be seeing screenshots and P&Ls.
Yeah, I think I think if you buy an NFT hoping to license it, you're playing a dangerous game.
I agree. I think there's something there. And first of all, it has to be, the business has to hit. They got to actually generate revenue that's material. I'm rooting for that. I think it makes sense. The concept makes sense. I think it can work. It's really hard to build a sustainable revenue generating business. But that's my thought is I'm going to hold, see what he does with it. And hey, if we're talking this time next year and they've not done anything with the IP and there's nothing there, then yeah, it was a bad move on my end. Also, real quick digression, Steve. We've lost the inverse coffee with Captain Pump this morning. I apologize for anyone still holding their loud. I jinxed it. The market makers must be sleeping because it's down to 8.3 this morning. The $11 million line has been lost.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I made a determination I was going to cash that. I cashed my 100x, not quite, probably about 90x, which is a massive win. Survive in advance. Need the cash right now because, like we said, we're not taking on every sponsor here and there and everywhere, and we're trying to make it work. So that's why it was a disproportionate farming opportunity. I always look at farming opportunities as, are they worth my time and do I enjoy them? When I look at things like, some of the like OpenSea farming, like super easy for me, enjoy doing it. I've been doing a lot of Abstract. Obviously, we stream there. That works well for us. Like, there are certain things that I participate in, and this one was, hey man, probably not going to happen. But imagine this thing captures attention and runs to a $200 million market cap, and people are getting paid out, 40 grand for putting in $30 and a few tweets. Didn't work out that way, worked out about a tenth of that, and that's totally fine, right? Like, it was a win for people no matter what. And so did sell mine. So, I know some people sold half. They're looking for a pump. Maybe it's a buying opportunity. I don't know if they have a round 2 coming up. I will say it'll be interesting to see how they, do the next act. But I thought there would be now there's something following this. Like, I thought for sure based on how they did things. I mean, I had this conversation about Blast, and I know it's very different, but Blast had always been like, what's the next thing? And Blast TGE happens, and they didn't have a plan, and it led them down a bad path. It's like, I know Loud was just about attention, but I thought there'd be some staking mechanic or something to get people excited, but it was sort of just a, hey, drop at 1 a.m. and go for it. I woke up, saw the win, booked the win, and hopefully for those who are still holding it, gets a ripper. But Machiavelli, saw your hand fly up, probably related to Moonbirds. Go ahead and get in here, GM.
Yo, GM guys. I hope you guys are having a wonderful morning. Great show this morning. You know what I'm saying? ApeChain on top. Glad to hear about the new sponsor. The little pudgies each got for the new Vibe Set 2 coming out. Every little pudgy got $100 cap. Said Spencer himself, like, do their licensing agreement. So if you participated for that run, we found out that every little pudgy got 100. So I just wanted to come up there here and share that. Because I mean, really, that's not even a bad deal. You know what I'm saying? You can't really expect it to pay back the NFT, but like he said, you know, like they got a piece up front, and they got to, you know, have their penguin featured in the game.
Yeah.
Nice. So yeah, appreciate that. I was not aware of that. Thank you for bringing it to our attention. And yeah, I mean, the reality is it doesn't make sense to go buy a mythic right now to get $100, maybe if they do something similar. But I want to see some people do this and win, so it starts encouraging and inspiring more to bring. Like, it's what I said. It's what got me most excited about the whole Loud experiment was not the farm. It was how they're sharing in the fees with their top 25 brand ambassadors. More of that with real businesses behind it. It gets me really excited.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny. I have some people, actually, let me go this direction. I think when you look at, just from a pure perspective, when I've ripped these sort of vibes packs with my kids, they're beautiful cards. Like, they are really well done. They're beautiful cards. Like, thinking about Moonbirds being in those. And again, thinking about ApeChain having when they sell it, saying the exclusive rights to on-chain activity, like, that is to me a harbinger to show that they are moving towards, like, you see F1, you see what they're doing. They're moving that direction as well to say, hey, L2s are fast, they're easy to operate, and they have the opportunity to bring on more people. And so I think that's, like I said, I think it's a harbinger as far as the direction things are heading when you see that plus F1 in sort of these back-to-back things that happened in the past week. So I think it's going to be interesting to follow. And I win-win all around. And it's weird because I think Moonbirds have sort of been on this uneasy ground where, you know, we had CC0. There's some uncertainty around them. They were art PFP. K-Ro showed off his little dish that he got from like Snowfro or whatever it was in like that one live stream. And then it looked like an ashtray my kid had made, but it was art. And you know, there was like some negative feelings around that. You know, they've ruined the word North Star in Web3 for a lot of people because they said North Star like 47 times in that live stream, and I actually like that term quite a bit. And then, you know, they sold to Yuga and people weren't quite sure what was happening. It was back and forth a little bit. And then Yuga said, look, we're locking in, we're focusing, and in it goes into the capable hands of OCG. So I just excited about it. And then just seeing the renewed focus and some of the people like Drew Barman, who I know has just been in on this thing for a while, and JK, who has been in on this thing for a while, who have held the line. Like, those are the people I'm really happy for, because that community feels like they have a renewed energy. And you know, again, I'm not running out to buy a Moonbird. I'm probably going to sell my Mythic because there's been a little bit of a pump. I'm just honest about that and what's going to happen because we're talking about it on the show. But opportunity bound.
First positive tweet I've seen from Jay or JJ, maybe ever on the account. JJ's bullish. JJ's excited again. JJ's the infamous Moonbird fudder. I don't know what all holds, but like a gold Moonbird is one of them. I think still the PFP, and was just one of the most notorious fudders of K-Ro and the entire ecosystem while still rocking that gold Moonbird, and was actually had some positive comments and bullish on the move.
Yeah. And then we won't go down this road because we're going to switch over to our special guest for ApeChain Architects here. Jingle incoming. Get excited. We got a jingle incoming for that one as well, but going to work with the ApeChain team on getting that one done. So before we do that, though, I will say this. I mean, as a side note, we don't need to go deep on it because we're going to switch over and we got some F1 to talk, some ApeChain to talk, a lot of things to talk. I will say this, like, it is a bizarre behavior to me that people will have a PFP and actually not sell it. Now, JJ at CC0, who knows, but have a PFP, not sell it, and use it, basically have it specifically with the implicit, discussion of wanting to FUD, right? Like, it's like you have a PFP. It's like, it is not worth the negative weight of mental energy to just FUD something you have. Like, sell, move on, like, let yourself and your anger be lifted and go from there. Because I think there's a lot of people who hold for some of the wrong reasons. But either way, we'll move past all that. Jingle incoming, but excited to launch our ApeChain Architect section. This is a new segment we're going to have on Mondays. Part of our partnership with ApeChain is we are going to have people on who are building in the ecosystems, people like the Clutch Markets and sort of, some of the others that we have talked about. I know, Cap, we talked about a few that we're looking at bringing up in the DMs as well. Excited to highlight some ApeChain builders. Before we have the sort of the straws that stir the drink right now on the call here. So we have obviously One Kim, we have the Chief Strategy Officer, and Bam on here for ApeChain. So excited to talk to both of you about it. Now, before we get into the F1 and everything that happened there, I actually wanted to see if you had anything you wanted to share from the weekend, because I saw over the weekend you went on a space with Rita. You answered questions of the community. I actually thought it was one of the most direct, upfront things. And so, I don't know. I'll start with you, I think, with Bam, and then we'll go to One. I'd love for you to talk a little bit about directionally where you see ApeChain going with sort of some shifts there, because I thought you hit on a lot of good things as far as evaluating things on merit and trying to make sure that the chain has the most positive opportunity moving forward. I thought Cam had some really great quotes as well. So, well, Bam, GM, anything you want to hit on with that as we get started here?
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys. And the space, I think that was Friday. The space was great. Cam, led the way there, but he did, a lot of talking about, how we've used the banana bill and, how this new regime under the foundation has, really taken the opportunity to build ApeChain, in a way that I think, when it was just the DAO running it, it was a lot harder to do. And this Alpine partnership, of course, is like a perfect example, how we've used it for, the poster activation. There's insane number of folks participating in that. Alpine's reach is, they've got millions and millions of followers across their socials. I think, we're trying to sort of use the levers that, we have as ApeCoin, as ApeChain, given the position we have in the larger space. There's a lot of things that can be done. And when you have, a leadership team that has, the ability to make calls and to, sort of shoot shots, you can get a lot done. It was a great space, and I think it's a super bullish time right now for ApeChain.
Yeah, One, same sort of question to you, just because I know you were on that space as well and talked quite a bit around it. And there were some tough questions, and I thought you guys went right up front with it. And I think part of it is, this is part of a growing experiment we have in this world of Web3, where things, you need to evaluate things on merit. You need to evaluate things based on, how they work and how they don't work. And I think a lot of the things is people get very stuck in, well, we wanted to go this direction, or this was what we were hoping to do. But I think in the reality of it, what I heard this on Friday in that space was, look, directionally, we're trying to win. We're trying to succeed, and we're trying to fill a mission here. And part of that mission is going to be taking things a little more seriously as how we do it. And so I felt really good leaving the space as somebody who is obviously, involved, and we obviously have a deal with y'all now. But One, any thoughts you had based on that Friday space? Because I thought the community came and they were honest. And I think, even the perspective on having those conversations more, because I think one of the things people appreciated was Rita said, hey, you guys should be out here more. And you guys said, let's answer the bell. Right. How about tomorrow?
Yeah, I think we definitely will be held to that monthly. We try not to overpromise on a weekly or daily. I think someone said hourly at one point at the end of that space. But no, it was great. It was great having folks who've been in the trenches, who've been building, who have fair, constructive criticism, and at the same time, can kind of hold that to one side. I think what we've learned in this space is that you're able to hold two things that may seem contrary and in tension with each other, as long as the North Star is same. And I think that's probably the one thing that we were able to get across on that call, on that space on Friday, was that the North Star here is that we want to win. And I think everyone who was on that call, who is serious about that North Star, kind of proved that as well. And so I think Rita obviously hosting that. You guys were on that call as well. I think Kyle and Guchita and a few others and a bunch of others who threw questions our way, All City, Aaron, and all those guys. I mean, they all care. And I think at the end of the day, that's high respect that we have for that. And I think the way we also responded to the questions, we're as sincere and honest as we can be in terms of what we're building, things that we've been doing behind the scenes, that whole duck analogy of like trying to look calm, cool, and collected on the outside, but underneath our team is working super hard. And I think that's one of the reasons why we want to show up more and more. By the way, not to segue or change this, but have you guys played the jingle already? And how's that hit? Has that hit hard with the community yet, or?
Played it earlier and we got really good feedback on it. It got some good feedback. Worked with our guy Shippin on making sure that it was kind of just chef's kiss, and got positive feedback. So people like the new jingle. People love the jingles in the community. They do, and it came across really well. And so I appreciate the question there. And then one thing
just to say, I think we didn't get to do it at the top of the hour or as soon as Wabam and I joined. I mean, today's obviously a big day for you both. I think if anything, yes, it's another regular Monday. You guys have been doing this for years now and been so consistent. I think this partnership really with us and what you guys have built isn't just, a business deal. It's really us recognizing, and I think everyone else recognizing what you guys have built, an engaging and amazing community. You guys have been one of the most consistent, if not the most consistent in this space. And I don't want to give you guys too many flowers. Most of the time, insightful discussions, right? And, a lot of great conversations happening, 20 minutes worthwhile of catching everyone up on all things outside of Web3 and blockchain, and then going right into it. And so this is one of those spaces where, yes, there's some inside baseball happening here, but also, building out a larger adoption for others who are interested in learning more about our space. And there isn't many people who do it better than you guys. So we're pumped to be part of kind of this stretch of initiatives that you guys have with us. So just want to say kudos to you. Thank you for obviously having us on, but more importantly, thank you for doing what you guys have been doing for many years.
Well, we appreciate that greatly, and feeling is mutual. We've had a ton of fun getting to know not just like the new team, but obviously we've known each other prior to this, and I think it's a
Moonbirds. I mean, we were talking about Moonbirds. Geez, we've known each other for a while.
I know it's kind of wacky when you think about it, even like going back to that and whiskey on the rooftop and all the other things. And I think, yeah, man, it's a crazy time, and I think that's actually a good transition into, you talk about some of the moves that you're making. I actually want to talk about two things. I want to talk first, let's talk about this F1 partnership. Let's talk about Alpine. Let's talk about what you did there, because I think, from a perspective, I want to get the philosophy, but from the outsider, the way I look at it is the way that mass sort of adoption happens is understanding that my kids care about collecting digital collectibles. I care about collecting digital collectibles. I wanted to win Yahoo Fantasy Football trophies back in the day. Like, that was an important thing for me when I was, and even like I got into Yahoo, like racing and golf and things to win trophies. So collecting digitally has always been a thing. But I think that the tech and cost barrier was always there. So I want to get your philosophy on this, because we had a free to claim in one of the world's most popular, certainly most up and coming sport, with a major partner, with a wallet that just required me to put in an email or connect my X account. So can you talk about this partnership a little bit, what happened, and then we'll direct people to it as well, but the philosophy behind it and the thinking.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of nailed it in the head. I mean, for us, we've it's not just a thesis, it's something that we are obviously with something like Alpine, we've tested it out, and we're going to continue to test out, is that people are collectors. And I think most of this space, a lot of people, you listen to their origin story. It started with Top Shots, or Top Shots then to like Zed Run. And like you think about all these folks and their journey. Well, we believe our journey, even though we may be maybe a couple years ahead of mass consumers, that journey is going to be the same for them. They're going to be people who have a passion for something, want to collect, want to have a piece of that, and then get rewarded along the way, and have even a deeper fan engagement. And so there's no better place to test that than with, a very, very hot, sport brand as F1. And as you know, with Alpine partnership, that was a partnership that was community driven, multi-year collaboration. Personally, myself joining into ApeCoin and ApeChain, grandfathered into this, but we're saying, hey, we need to test this thesis out with our partners and make the most of this partnership outside of just a brand play. Yes, it is amazing that we have our logo on the belly of the car every single race. That's awesome. Like no one really outside of the big, exchanges can say that. And I think that's really cool about our partnership. It's like, we want more than that. Ours isn't just about, eyeballs seeing on a car and some LED screens. Ours is actual engagement with the real person. And so I thought the easiest way, and our team built it out, and kudos to our team. They work nonstop, around the clock, Vi, Spend, Loss, all those folks. And we really worked on, a seamless, like you said, no gas fees, no downtime, really. And I think that's one of the things that you really saw from a lot of the responses from people who did it. It was like, I didn't want to say flawless, because I'm sure it wasn't flawless as we would hope, but like it was a very smooth technical launch, so that there will be no friction between someone who says, you know what, I discovered this through an Alpine tweet. I discovered this through a mobile, app or newsletter, release. And then obviously all of us found it through, Twitter, Discord, and whoever else we follow on the timeline. And we just wanted to make sure that there was no friction between, I put my email address in, collect all the posters, hopefully all 9 up to this point, and then 15 more races coming all the way, I think ending in like Abu Dhabi, I believe. And then great prizes to reward people for that experience. And then it serves Alpine, our brand, because all they're seeing is more engagement, people spending more time with them outside of just the Friday to Sunday races. And now people who discover this on Monday are going to be like, oh, I want to collect all 9. Oh, when's the next one coming? Okay, I got to wait 1 week. And then a week after that, and each race, they will have a chance to collect more of these posters, digital posters, and then of course get an amazing win at the end.
Are the first 9 still open?
Yes.
And will they remain, like, when does the mint stop? I just want to, because if you've not yet checked this out, I would encourage everyone to go collect one, even if you're not into F1, if you're not into ApeChain. I don't want to front run a conversation about Glyph, but as soon as I went and I saw it, I collected it, and I was super impressed. It was one of the most frictionless experiences I've had in Web3. It was 2 clicks, the NFTs in my wallets. And as I said, they also calling them digital collectibles. It's just like, it was a very normie friendly experience that sometimes we those of us are here, it's like, oh, we almost struggle. So there was some feedback on another chain recently about, well, yeah, it works if you're not in the space, but if you're in the space, it was just super simple. Like, it literally took 2 clicks. NFTs were my wallet. Now you need to go and mint each one. But is there anything you can expand on the tech behind this, or how this pulled this off? Are we going to be hearing, I assume we're going to be hearing more about Glyph in the future?
Yeah, well, Bam, what can we say about it? I mean, we don't want to front run Glyph for sure. But one thing I'll add to that, Chris, is
did I already screw up by announcing the name? Is the name even public yet?
Oh, shoot. I don't know what you just said. But one thing I'll add, Chris, is like, here, let's also be, honest. Like F1 is also, even for the brand itself, I mean, it's a very expensive sport. I think most people discovered the accessibility to F1 through Netflix, right? The documentary. And now you're going to see a blockbuster movie coming out with Brad Pitt. Like there is a move on their end to say, all right, how do we get more fans? And I think this is just an extension of that too. And we are supporting, a partner in that, where we want to make this not only accessible, and I think a lot of our team, as soon as this launched, the first thing we did was we sent it to family members and, the moms and dads and even grandpas, and they're like, oh, we did it. Does that mean we're on Web3 now and blockchain on ApeChain? We're like, yes. And that really was a great win on our side, just to make it, like you said, very accessible and easy.
How does a couple things you said there, like I actually want to go back to something you said that I think was super insightful that I don't want to just fly over, which is you mentioned this is a way for them to engage with their fans and engage with a new audience, but two, engage with their fans outside of race weekend, outside of race day. Can you walk us through a little bit for what you can share? Because obviously, like, you're a partnerships master. I drove a BMW in Lisbon, and now BMW is on my shopping list when it was never before, right? You create an experience with me. You tied it to an on-chain activity. You tied it to something I love. You made a brand connection, and I have a different feeling. Like, that is sort of how the marketing funnel often works for these brands. So what does the conversation look like when you are trying to convince? Because look, Web3 doesn't always have the best reputation. And people have that conversation a lot, but yet y'all got them to do this activation. So what does a conversation with them look, and how do you get them over the goal line from the red zone into the end zone on this one?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's not easy. And you could imagine, a company or a brand of that size and of that importance and of that kind of money and different things coming their way, making a shift or at least evolving into this is going to take a lot of conversations, a lot of case studies showing why, this will work. And to be honest, we have now great experience from a lot of the people who did this launch. And then even the mints and even the data will prove out. And we got 15 more races to do this. So I think, it's like when you were growing up and following football or whatever, for me, somehow for a few years of my life, I was a Notre Dame fan, which is like crazy because I've never been to a stadium, couldn't afford to fly out and go to that. But you're like, oh, they're on NBC every weekend. And it's just like a slow crawl, walk, run thing. And I think for F1, they're approaching that and they're thinking of where is other distribution opportunities that they're reaching an audience maybe that they've never talked to before or been relevant to. And then can it be reciprocal where now their current fans can also be exposed to something new and innovative? And I think we address both of that because when you talk to Web2 brands, we're never going to say, hey, come and, obviously this space is awesome, but you're never going to go to like a Disney and say, hey, we have a few hundred people every morning and a couple thousand listen throughout the day. And they're going to be like, oh, we have 1 million show up at any point that we say show up here, right? But what we're showing is a new rabid fan base, a new distribution channel, but also a new innovative platform. And so when they see that you're bringing those things to the table, there is excitement because they're like, oh, we haven't done anything like this before. Let's try this. And then not only that, oh, there's a new channel of conversations and we can also serve our current fans with this as well.
So you look at it as almost an extension of the brand into, it's almost like in an interesting way, because again, kind of unpacking what you said, it almost becomes like a new, when you say new channel, it's more powerful than even a new social channel, but it's sort of like that, where it's like, when you say look, it's almost like when you put it that way, it feels like for a brand, it's a no-brainer to be involved in this because why not? It's another opportunity for you to engage. We'll be your guides as you go through this and continue to grow the sport. And I think that part is interesting. By the way, I said from the red zone into the end zone, I really missed an over the, through the finish line, probably pun there that I probably, so that's bad job out of me Monday morning. Everybody gets a case of the Monday sometimes. But I think it's interesting because you almost said it like it's like a no-brainer where it's like, this is a new way to engage with your fans in a more precise way. And the opportunity to give them something in an event-based thing to do. And oh, by the way, there's going to be prizes. Can you talk a little bit about some of those prizes? Because I think people got excited about collecting and maybe even missed some of the opportunities that are coming along with it.
Yeah, I think there are a few prizes that we are able to mention, and then some that are going to be kind of the surprising delight. And Steve, if you want to use the rest of the time talking about Alpine partnership and do like race track puns, I'm all for it. I'm tracking along with you. And just kidding. The dad in me is coming out right now and you guys stop me. But no, I think some of the prizes are, obviously signed hats, jerseys, shirts, and then it gets to like next level of like experiences, actual visiting, where they make the cars, potential driver meetups. There's a lot there that we have with our current, partnership, and then more that they want to funnel our way because they're seeing the excitement. And so in a way, as mints keep on coming up, more posters are collected, the chatter continues. I mean, we get to build this and scale this in a way that probably goes exceedingly more than we imagined in the first place we kind of thought this thesis through.
Lost audio again, Steve.
My bad, I was muted on that. I was going to say, like, I appreciate the thought process there, and I think that and sort of the ability to reward. You've got my wheel spinning. I will say this. I want to get your take on this, Wabam, as sort of like from a strategy perspective, because what I'm hearing is, again, low friction, easy to use wallets. We're seeing F1. The Orange Cap game sort of acquisition of Moonbirds had this exclusivity on ApeChain for on-chain activities. Is this directionally where we can expect ApeChain to be going from a, hey, we've been the home of NFTs and we're proud of that, and that's our sort of our culture and where we came from, but we're extending more into this sort of real world applications. Can you give me some thoughts on that, Wabam?
Yeah, that absolutely is the strategy. It's about unlocking the power of Web3 to allow brands, to allow celebrities, musicians, artists, to allow any sort of segment that can use that uses technology and that has fans to deeper their engagement with their fans.
I think we might have lost Bam there.
And hey, can you guys still hear me?
No, you're back now. You're back now.
Yeah,
We lost you for a second.
sorry, I had a call come in. So this is like a sort of test case of this thesis where you hide the wires, you take a highly engaged fan base, and you come up with new creative ways to help them connect with their fandom, whether that's in sports, or whether it's in any sort of any community or fandom. And yeah, you incentivize folks with prizes, but prizes is really just part of it. It's about creating new experiences and new ways to connect with your identity and the things that you love. And this is absolutely something that we're gonna take and we're gonna run with. And yes, it uses NFTs and it uses crypto rails, but the average person using it doesn't even know that, and they don't need to know that. That's where we're headed, I think, as an industry, and we're positioning ourselves so that we're on the forefront of that evolution.
Yeah, no, it tracks. It makes sense, and I think it's a good, again, good opportunity there that you're thinking about, because I think that's like, look, we can only push the same money around this corner of the internet so many times, and the same information, and we see people getting exhausted by it. And at some point, there is going to be a tipping point where this tech breaks out of our world, the same way it did with the internet when there was just nerds like me coding in the mid 90s in middle school. Well, it's turned into everybody has a website, and we're talking over these. And so I think once we hit that point, you want to be well positioned for it. And I think what better than one of the biggest and largest brands on the planet. So that's a great call. But one more question, because I know we're about to hit the half-hour mark here in a little bit, and obviously appreciate y'all making the time this morning as we launch this thing. The perfect first guest as we get ready to go. But
Hey, Steve,
okay.
Just quick interruption. You were saying, how your young self was coding in the 90s, and just thinking about in a little bit, we're going to have another announcement, and it's going to give you a call back to the Steve in the 90s. A lot of nostalgic stuff that's coming out. I don't want to front run, but just think about 90s, one of the biggest collectibles around that time. And we'll be launching some stuff on ApeChain. It's gonna be awesome.
I would be cheating if I said the answer, but I actually think I know the answer, because we might be having them on the show potentially tomorrow, maybe Wednesday. We're working out of time, so excited for that. But I'm a steel trap when it comes to. I'm a walking NDA. They got the information volunteered for free, and I was kind
of. That was actually a test, and you passed. So well done.
But no, I'm excited for that when it comes up here in the very, very near future. And by the way, very excited about it because it's a brand I actually randomly ran into a few years ago at an event, and was really excited. I'm like, oh, Web3 word. So excited about that. So I think a lot of people will be as well. And so little teaser there for the next big move with ApeChain. But wanted to kind of get you guys out of here with another question that is something that struck me, that I heard Cam say a couple times now, and I think he credited Tina with this. He said it in Paris, and then he said it again on the space. And he said, Bored Ape Yacht Club is our heritage, not our baggage. And it was something that gives me goosebumps to say out loud, because I think people hear is ApeChain a bad name because it's tied to apes? And I don't know. I see someone like Rita this weekend saying, when I'm feeling down, I see certain people in the club and I feel better. And so it's like, I think there is a magic to that. I was wondering if I guess I'll start with the BAM. We'll go to one as well. But like, just to end on a sort of warm and fuzzy note, that quote, Bored Ape Yacht Club is our heritage, not our baggage. Can you expand on how that manifests itself to you, Bam? Because I love that quote, and it's been ringing in my head since I heard it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you gave a great example there, or Rita did originally, which is, there's a lot of connections. Like the brand Bored Ape Yacht Club, the NFT collection has a ton of high profile, famous, successful, collectors as part of the club, and I think that association is very valuable. It creates opportunities, like this Alpine partnership. If we weren't ApeCoin, it probably would have been a different discussion. And that's just one, the partnership that was just teased a second ago, which we shall not be named, but maybe, will be teased more on your next show. Those sorts of opportunities come our way, in large part because of that connection to the Bored Ape Yacht Club. So, I think that phrase, BAYC is our heritage, not our baggage. I mean, it speaks well to the incredible opportunity. Yes, it also, requires us to make sure that we're building with the club in mind, and that we're, keeping that community and that ethos as part of what we're doing. But it unlocks doors, it creates opportunities, and it's a powerful heritage for us.
I feel like you may have another bar to add to that jingle.
That's actually interesting. I think that may come in for ApeChain Architects. I think that may be in the upcoming jingle for that one, because I think that is a strong one. I totally agree with you on that one. Go ahead, Cap. You're jumping in.
No, I was going to make some Beanie Babies joke, but I'll just let it lay.
Let's do this. Look, I appreciate both of your time. I know that we are running against the 9:30 hour, and it's been awesome chatting. We appreciate the partnership. Start with you, then we'll finish out with Wabam. One, you first. Anything we didn't cover this morning, or anything else you want to get across, whether it's related to partnerships, Alpine, ApeChain, upcoming things, or anything you want to make sure our audience is aware of. To our audience, look up top. You're going to want to go ahead and go to that at the link at the top. Mint those NFTs on ApeChain. They are easy to set up. You set up a wallet, you grab them. It takes you 1 second. I would recommend getting all of them. I did. But one, any parting thoughts before we let you get out of here?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a busy summer. We got a lot of announcements coming out. I think we'd love to make sure that we break a lot of it here. I just want to double down on you guys and just thank you for doing what you guys do daily. And when we are able to show up and share a little bit and talk and shoot the breeze a bit, we'll make ourselves available. I think obviously there are a lot of other kind of things that are being talked about outside where it's part of things that we're going to be working on this week and making sure we're listening and continuing to press forward and appreciate you guys directing any folks with conversations or questions our way. And I know that's something we talked about on the Rita space as well, and on this space too, is there are people who have questions. And I think you both are primed to answer as many as possible, but it's not necessarily your job. And if there's folks to pass our way, Cam, myself, and Wabam, our lines are open, and we'd love to talk with people who are builders, creators, and obviously folks who just may have further questions on ApeChain. So yeah, we'll make ourselves available throughout.
I love it. Well, really appreciate the partnership. Steve, I'll let you take it to Wabam here in a second. Just to add to that, I mean, we're grateful. We're very excited. We've buried some kind of, like, maybe not the lead over the weekend, but definitely some news, I feel, especially knowing it's June 2nd. One alluded to a busy summer. Steve, it's June 2nd. We're expecting persistent other side late June, early July, and I'm not saying that's why they're running. They didn't show on the 24-hour chart because they're only up like 2% in the last 24 hours. But Codas have ripped over last week. They're up to almost 2 ETH now, 1.82 ETH, and I remain very bullish on Codas and what may be coming down the pipe in other side. There's something coming too. There's some I don't know if it's a token. I don't know if it's future utility, but Garga's pretty much said in the other side Discord, there's something coming for, as I understand it, for Codas, apes, and mutants, and a busy summer indeed. But yeah, it just hit me that it's June. It's like, oh my gosh, I don't know where the years went, but it just kind of snuck up on me in that reality. He said busy summer, like, oh my goodness, it is summer. And yeah, we're going to be able to get in other side whenever we want here in the next 4 to 6 weeks or so.
Exciting. Yeah, I'm pumped. It's an exciting time to be in the space, but Wabam, before we let you guys get out of here, any other parting thoughts you want to get across before we, whether it's related to ApeChain? Obviously, we'll be talking a ton of ApeChain on this show over the next coming months, and we'll be doing some giveaways as well, so we'll stay tuned for that. But any other parting thoughts you want to get across, Wabam, before we get out of here about anything related here?
Yeah, just building on that, the other side runs on ApeChain. So it's an incredibly exciting summer in the club, in the Yuga-verse, an incredibly exciting summer for ApeChain and for ApeCoin. So, keep your eyes, if you haven't minted the Alpine collection yet, get in there. We'll be each race, the ability to mint the previous races will close, and you'll only be able to mint that race. So make sure you mint by next Monday in order to get all the ones up to the Canadian GP. And if you're able, come to New York for NFT NYC. We're going to have a really awesome event there for ApeChain, and we've got a lot of cool stuff cooking. So it's going to be a great summer. Thanks for having us up here, guys. And I know we'll really appreciate the partnership, of course. And I know we'll be back on here soon.
One thing before we let you guys out of here, we've kind of said it in passing, but I do think it's worth acknowledging and thanking not just for the sponsorship, but how your team is going about it. And, Steve mentioned earlier that we've been very selective on who we work with. And one of the things that's been important to us is we do want to bring our community along. Is whenever there's the opportunity to do so. One of our recent segments has been pretty, a hit with our listeners has been our coffee with Captain with Beezy. And it's popular because every Tuesday we've been giving away prizes to our audience. I don't know the exact math on it. It's like 15 to 20% of this deal that we just entered into with ApeChain is for our listeners. We do have prizes and stuff coming up. And while that may seem like, oh, that's not a big deal, it's not every partner does this. Not every partner has, whether it's, you want to call it, user incentives or, a customer acquisition budget, but their willingness to work with us in doing some of these, what we hope to be fun activations for the community. And, no one's, getting generational wealth off our ApeChain partnership just for listening in, but we hope you're able to have some fun with it, enjoy some of the activations. Yes, the jingles are always a hit, but just your willingness to support not just us, but also our community, it means a lot. And I don't know as if everyone in your shoes is putting that much importance on passing through some of these rewards and fun activities to the ultimately the listener or the end user. So thank you on behalf of all our listeners.
No, thank you. You guys, thank you also for patience as we made sure, we crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's, and we got this through, and we're excited for it. I am playing this coffee drinking game. Every time Steve mentions Progressive or Nestle, and I haven't taken one sip yet. So, Steve, very surprised.
I've been doing
work for a Fortune 500 company, Fortune 100 company.
I've been doing better.
I can at least have my first sip of coffee today.
No, I've been doing better about it, but just for your help, yes, I will. Progressive Nestle. I just enjoy the coffee and very much appreciate that. It is one that I'm definitely proud of, but it's weird. I feel like it hasn't come up as much recently, and which is actually bullish for Web3 because I actually have real world stuff to talk about, like the Alpine, which is sort of like instead of me talking about where it could go, we actually are talking about where it is, and partially thanks to ApeChain. So very much appreciate.
Progressive and Nestle. It's now Alpine and ApeChain.
Yeah. Well, appreciate it. I took my first big sip. Thank you, author Steve, best-selling author.
Right on. Appreciate y'all. Talk soon. Fun stuff, Cap. I'm excited about this is what this is supposed to be. Like, this is what this technology is. And I think for a lot of times, like, we just, and again, thanks to Wabin and Juan for joining us. Like, really appreciate it on this early Monday morning, jumping up with us, and really appreciate the sponsorship and the opportunity here. And especially, like you said, the opportunity to give back to our community based on the way the deal was structured. It was structured in a way that I think is good. And look, I mean, without giving away behind the scenes stuff, the way that they're evaluating things on merit, the way that they're evaluating things on opportunity, I think is the way it should be, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah, same. We got Dort getting philosophical in the chat, Steve. He says, my metaphor with Bored Ape Yacht Club, ApeChain, says Bored Ape Yacht Club and ApeChain are kind of like a private yacht in the open ocean it cruises through. The yacht's still exclusive, invite only, all vibes, tight crew, but now it's got a whole ocean to explore. ApeChain's that ocean, bigger reach, new ports, more action. The yacht doesn't lose its status just because the others are sailing too. In fact, it stands out even more. And the more people cruising those waters, the more valuable that original yacht feels. They're separate, but they move together. One brings the culture, the other brings the scale. Even if it was assisted by our favorite LLM, I think you nailed it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that sounds like super philosophical when you've the way you've approached it. And I'll again, like I always kind of said, like, it's, the best analogy I'd come up with initially was like, think of them as like different candles, and you put them together, they're one flame. You take them apart, they exist on their own. And so I think it's a I don't know. I think it's a good analogy by our guy Dort. Very much appreciate you, good sir. Cap, that said, I had Loud, I had Moonbirds, ApeChain DAO potentially. I'm gonna put a pin in. I had a thought on OpenSea rewards coming in, but I'm going to I'm gonna stop on that one because I am putting out a video that I filmed on it. Probably in the next couple of days, so I don't want to front run myself on that. But I don't know, man. Like, exciting time to be here, I think, just because I do think between the adoption we're starting to see, between the way that more people, like, again, one of my takeaways, just to go back to the Kaido thing, is if I am a company who's paying a bunch of money to go on Kaido, there should be more focused rewards, like more focus on that. Because if you can get people talking about loud for 48 hours in that way, I would consider a ongoing leaderboard. And then I would consider saying we are having a, 1 week sprint, a 48-hour sprint, a 72-hour sprint around this new product. Go test and use it and see how that converts and see how many people stay. Like if I am like an Arbitrum, I would think about a product that I want people to go to. I would say, hey, Pirate Nation's built on Arbitrum, on a scaled on Arbitrum. Go use Pirate Nation, tweet about Pirate Nation, then you give your partner a lot of love. You get people to use your chain, you get people talking about it. That's how I would consider distributing these flash rewards. Like, I think that's one of my key takeaways.
Yeah, no, I agree. And back to my earlier point, I think the biggest winner of the whole loud experiment was Kaido. I think it was the best stress test they probably could have ever imagined. And there was a lot of imperfections exposed, and hopefully this is the worst version of InfoFi we ever have, and it just keeps improving from here. A couple other quick news nuggets if we've got the time here. I missed this, but Diabolito dropped in the chat on the topic of ApeChain, the mintators and the metadata there, like growing beards, cutting beards. We got battles coming soon. Something I think we should probably get James on maybe next week, the following week, to talk about what he's got going on there on ApeChain. I just love how they're experimenting and doing new stuff. It's not going to capture 72% mind share in the space, but I think it is these little things that just does help us move forward. Perfect example is the Alpine collectible posters, right? It doesn't say any, I don't think it says any NFT anywhere on there. At least it's not front and center. It's just, you're collecting digital posters. Makes sense. The kids get it. It's easy. You don't need private keys. You don't need to understand the deep. They've abstracted the tech very well, and I think that is a really big step. The other thing I wanted to, I guess you at least mention in passing, it looks like the new chat feature is rolling out, private beta. I'm not sure who's getting in. I saw Josh Long post a screenshot. Looking forward to seeing what X does with that. I think it could be more than just chat, would be my guess. And Billionaire War Games are back. James Wynn apparently has opened another Bitcoin long, so I'm sure that'll be that. And then CZ came out. There's talking about I don't know. There's something going on there. I think there's also more than meets the eye. I don't think it's going to be the last we hear about Mr. Wynn or I say Billionaire War Games. Yes, I think also some exchange war games. Like I think the sexes and the dexes. I think we may see some. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to play out. It's my spidey senses are going off that everyone's talking about. Oh, the micro strategy. If there's a potential black swan event, it's that. I don't have enough knowledge or insight to even make an intelligent comment about how these DEX games could unravel, but I feel it's something I need to learn more about what's happening there, because it seems like it could be a really big deal if things break one way or another.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's one of the things that scares me is like the bigger money being able to move, because like the, hard cap on Bitcoin supply is like a really nice thing for a lot of reasons, but those people going out and doing that, like that does make it a little bit also more of a potential contagion, right? With countries and people and, potentially being able to brick that process, especially if they want to, it makes for a little bit more of a potential black swan as you go. But I saw Depressive Hacks hop up here as well, and he'll throw the hand up. Depressive Hacks, go ahead and get in here, GM.
Hey, GM guys. Just wanted to touch on something you had mentioned with Kaido. So there was a reply or an X article that you put out like within the last 24 hours that mentioned that the quality of the posts that are being analyzed by Kaido's algorithm is actually a filter that is chosen by whomever is the company that's paying for the advertising, like to get on Kaido essentially. So apparently, because I kind of was in the same boat as a lot of people that like, this is the worst version that we're going to have and things will get better as the algorithm gets better. And I guess according to like this most recent update, that's not really what the issue is. Like the algorithm already can do that, at least better than the timeline makes it appear. And teams are just opting for like low quality, high volume content versus more low volume, high quality content, it appears at this point in time, based on whatever metrics it is they're trying to drive. So I just thought that was interesting. Wanted to pop up and mention it.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what the levers look like behind the scenes though when they are doing that. That's the one thing I'm unclear on. Like, I know that they can turn off like negative posts. I know Bread's talked a little bit about the things that they can see, but I'm curious how they optimize for it. But yeah, I mean, it's like, look, again, like, this is the worst Kaido's going to be, assuming that they have a strong business model and good people at the helm thinking about it. And look, I changed my mind on these sort of things. I was not bullish on Kaido in the way it initially opened. I sold my Kaido airdrop right off the rip. I've since bought back in. I've since staked Kaido, and I've since found myself saying, if they refine this tool and they do it in the right way, like Cap said, the biggest winner this weekend was Kaido. I agree. I think that they learned something about sprint, campaigns, and I think there's probably a new offering they have there. They need to be careful how they use it and when they use it. They need to make sure their clients are well adjusted there. And I also think that your the point of being able to sort of filter out noise, I think it's going to start getting better and better. And I think that that's the whole point of the platform, is how can you make that info less dirty, less noisy, and more useful. So I largely agree with that. Give it a couple of zooms in here, Cap, and then tell me what you're looking at.
There is the article you put out is pinned up atop. This is a response to, so Chill Pill quote tweeted that, had some critiques. This is Yu's response. This gives you an idea of what the customization toggles are. Loyalty, by the way, further down this thread, Laudio had the loyalty comment turned on last week. They've turned it off today. So there's people like Chill Pill went into a rant because there was someone in the top 25 that it doesn't make any sense why that person would be ranked ahead of Chill Pill and several others. They actually said, I'm not trying for this. I don't want to be in the top 25. And it came down to they're on 0 other leaderboards, whereas Chill Pill is on 8. And so they were being dinged like, I don't know, he thought 600 to 800% based on the loyalty toggle. So that's one. Are you talking about just a singular project? Are you talking about multiples? Sentiment, alignment, insightfulness, number of posts per week, quality versus quantity. Circle jerk prevention. I'm not really exactly sure what that entails, but is one of the toggles. Reputation weighting, among others. So it's still pretty opaque, but I do think, and I'm not going to read all this verbatim. If you're interested, go read the article. You can see a lot back and forth. He does say there's no quality filter in Loud for reasons mentioned in the article. So yeah, I do think not only was this a great stress test for Kaido, it's kind of like I felt I didn't like explain it best last week, because I wasn't taking a shot at anyone who didn't want to participate. I just feel you should be paying attention to this. If you're going to market with a product, like, they're learning a lot here. And you don't have to play the Kaido game, but I think, if you're posting on X, if this is part of your marketing strategy, I think understanding how these things work together and how the space responds to it, I think it's important. I don't know all the answers. I'm trying to study it the best as possible. Hey, I am a content creator. I enjoy this space, and it's not about necessarily always moving up a leaderboard, but just understanding how, I guess it's like kind of like the all news is good news. Well, not necessarily. Sometimes it can be. It's very nuanced. I think it's a very nuanced conversation. And I like the Kaido fudders. I don't know if they're giving that nuance enough credit.
Yeah, I think that it's getting better, and I think it has the right, thoughts. And I think it's good Chill Pill gave that feedback. I mean, the other thing about it, though, and like, this is not like a knock at Chill Pill, but because I like Chill Pill and like we've connected, is I think he's been a Kaido maxi and it's worked out well for him. But I think part of that was early on, it was speed running every leaderboard. And I know he said like, hey, I have one tweet and I happen to be on these leaderboards. It's like, that's why I sometimes worry about how dirty and how well the data actually works, because I don't know, man. Like, I when I saw people on the Loud leaderboard who maybe had one tweet with like 14 likes and 6 comments, and then at one
flawed, but I think it's definitely flawed, but I think it's directionally accurate. Like, it's not perfect by any means. There's some people on there that are like, but now it's their job to make it better, to prevent the gaming of the system. And my read is that you and the team are taking that serious. I do believe that they do want this thing to sustain. I do think they have much bigger visions and plans beyond crypto and Web3. And part of what I think both you and I enjoy so much about this space is we do have a front row seat to tech, to potentially world-changing tech. And maybe nothing comes of it in this whole thing and no one's talking about InfoFi a year from now. That's a potential outcome. I would bet there's a greater chance that we're talking more about InfoFi and mindshare a year from now than talking about it less. And so, like, I'm intrigued by how they're building this, and it does seem to me that this is not a low effort build for them. Like, they're in the trenches, they're hearing the feedback, they're joining the conversation, and I'll give them the benefit of the doubt that they're going to go back and, take the notes and make changes that hopefully improve the platform. But
yeah, I just wonder what it's going to be. Is it going to be a white label platform where, like, are they going to actually have this thing just be like a leaderboard? Is this like the early, like, because I feel like this is the early form, and the final form is probably like you go to Starbucks, you charge them a fee for having it on their website. They're able to like track fans in a brand new way and reward them with like stars and different types of things where they put budget towards that and rewards and trips and things like that. Like, there's probably like a mix of like imagine if the Odyssey program had this on top of it, where it's like you had all the NFTs and maybe those came to a loyalty score with a certain type of reward. And then on top of that, as you're talking about Starbucks online in digital spaces, they could track that. I know X is the place right now, but you're able to track that and actually give rewards based on sort of being a brand advocate. Like that's what's interesting to me about it. Like, whether they're the ones to do it or not, I don't know, but I think it's like a layer you build on top of existing loyalty. I think it's a layer you build on top of existing loyalty.
Exactly. I agree. It may not be them. They're in the running, certainly. I think that we most agree that they're one of the leaders today. We have breaking news. Just since the last half hour here, one of their competitors, Wallchain, announced a new leaderboard. If you haven't seen it yet, any guesses who the newest leaderboard is? I'm surprised by that. I'm actually shocked by this one.
I have not. I have no idea what it might be. What is it?
The next Mindshare leaderboard is live. I'm going to pull up a picture so you can see it as I pull it up here. And I'm genuinely curious to get your thoughts on this, because about the last person or protocol or brand I would have seen jumping into an InfoFi campaign is one of the leading blockchains. So the most recent board that just went live is the Solana leaderboard on Wallchain. Thoughts on that?
I mean, they just didn't Ansem just get involved with them, so yeah, makes sense. Doesn't throw me off too much.
Well, so do you think Ansem knew this was coming? That's why he created his account? Do you think he got the inside? Because I think his tweet this morning came out that he just set up his Quacks account, which he should. I wonder if there's a deal behind the scenes there with the three parties, with Ansem as well, or he just organically happened to create his account the day they announced the Solana leaderboard. Yeah,
I think my gut feeling is that there's probably something going on there. I don't think it's a coincidence that Ansem is like, I suddenly care about InfoFi. I'm on Wallchain. Surprise, Solana. Like, I don't think it was like the timing is so coincidental. But no, I don't know. I mean, I'm last 7 days. I'm number 6 on ApeChain. Shout out to the sponsorship, by the way. But yeah, I don't think it's
says join by tomorrow if you want to get the gold early Quacker achievement for. So yeah, if you're interested in talking about Solana, if you're interested in more InfoFi, you probably do that in the next day or so. If you would have had me list who do I think are going to be some of the upcoming campaigns, a major blockchain wasn't even anywhere on my radar. I'm kind of, did they need to do this? Or is it more, do you think it was maybe a reverse deal where Wallchain like gave them the deal just so they could get more attention and mindshare on their platform?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it came to be, but I can't help but think that they are intrinsically tied together. I know we had a couple of people come up on stage. I'm going to go Diego first with your hand up, and then I saw Josh jumped on stage as well. So we'll talk to Josh about probably a combination of his never-ending pasta card and his Laudio activity. But Diego, go ahead and get in here, GM.
Hey, Steve, Captain. Have a nice week. Thanks for bringing me up. No, I just was looking the feed. Some weeks ago, I remember to see some people on Solana talking about all these info fight that who is gonna build this on Solana. And it was very curious because today I just saw the Ansem tweet that he joined a wall chain, and then I saw a post from Tolly, the founder of Solana. So maybe I don't know which we can speculate, but for sure there is something behind wall chain. Maybe they're gonna focus only on Solana. I don't know, but it's fun to see because there are more options for people. You know, you can use Kaito, you can use wall chain, and the other one I don't remember the name of the other one, but we can see how fun and profitable will be this.
Yeah, the other one I believe probably is so we've got wall chain, which is the quacks. We've got Kaito and Yaps. We've got Cookie.
Cookie,
and
exactly.
Snaps.
Cookie is the name. Yeah.
I think those are the three big ones. I think there's some others that have popped up, but those are the three, I think, quote unquote leaders at the current moment. But yeah, going to be interesting. I just I'm kind of surprised to see a blockchain go here, but it even does actually, I guess, makes me even more bullish on this concept. If we see, I'm not saying that Solana's bending the knee. Like people are going to talk about Solana, whether they're in an InfoFi campaign or not. Just kind of surprising. Go ahead, Diego. Get back in here, and then we'll go to Josh.
Yeah, because on Kaito, we know for sure that there are a lot of projects, and we can see, for example, OpenSea that it's working on the new rebranding of their web. We can saw Backpack Exchange, for example, that also is there, but they are flying under the radar. The other projects, I don't know. I find very hard to get involved with them because I don't know anything about that, and I'm not gonna go on the farmer mode that I will start to talk with AI content about everything. So the best thing is for people to choose things they're used and try to create something. Have fun, enjoy, support the other people. It's just like that. Thank you, guys.
No, thank you. Appreciate you joining us, and yeah, thanks for as always. Thanks for all the support, and congratulations again on your Laudio win. Love to see it.
I could make it to Laudio because I was expecting for the first come first serve, and then I have to go to the movies, and I miss it because I was looking Lilo Stitch with my wife. But it's okay. It's okay. A lot of friends got it. Made a good money there with that 100x, but it's fine. We for sure will see more opportunities ahead.
Indeed. Well, didn't mean to rub salt in the wound there. I just thought you'd hit it, but I hope the movie was good.
Yeah, Lilo Stitch, amazing. Go for it. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was fun. Diego, respects. That's an expensive movie, but I love that you did that. So, yeah, I wanted to provide a little context, which is, yeah, I was talking to Yuri, the Wallchain founder, and he was at the ApeChain meetup in New York a couple weeks ago with Baron Davis, and then that was also coincidentally the week of Solana's Accelerate conference in New York. So there was a lot going on. It was like, the New Year crypto summit, but then Solana had their whole community out and their builders. And I think what's interesting about Kaito is like they've had Solana projects on. So I think, was it Soon, which is like that, it's like almost like a Solana roll up or something. I think they were doing a board on Kaito, but if I recall, like Kaito, the token is on Base, right? It's like it has tended to be kind of more EVM centric, and so I think there's, there was a huge opportunity for Solana to kind of have a more close relationship with an InfoFi platform, and so it seems like this is, the start of that. And I would say it's early in the sense that, yeah, you're getting Ansem and others like joining the boards, but if you sign up for WallChain, there's still quite a few invites floating around, and you can get that early badge. Like, I would just say, similar to like obviously how we talk about Lowdy and other stuff, like come check it out, get in early, because from what I know about what they're building, like there's plenty going on behind the scenes that it's worth like just seeing if you can make some cool content and get on some of those boards, whether it's ApeChain, whether it's Solana. I know that'll be harder just because they're like some big Solana voices, but they're going to be adding more partners, and I think we've seen with the Kaito meta, like it can be rewarding. So yeah, a little bit of context there.
Great take. No, I appreciate you sharing, and wholeheartedly agree. Like, it costs you nothing to connect your account other than, I guess, you're giving up some access to your X. Get that early Quacker award. It's a gold badge. Maybe nothing ever comes of it. Again, it takes you a few seconds in connecting your X account. Maybe Quacks does a TGE in the future, and everyone who has the gold Quacks badge gets 2x the allocation. Ends up being a great TG. Like, you just never know. And but what we do know is it's kind of easy to connect some of these dots looking forward in terms of what could happen. And I'd rather connect my account, get the gold badge, and get nothing for having a gold badge than hear this today, not connect my account, and then everyone who has a gold badge and 6 months from now gets, I know $3,000 is nothing for crypto Twitter, but you get an extra $3,000 if you have a gold badge. That could happen. We've seen crazier things on X, so it's like they're telling you what they want to do. They said, hey, the last day to get it's tomorrow. If you're thinking about this, if you're somewhat interested at all, even if you're not interested, it's probably worth connecting the account. But yeah, great take, Josh. And yeah, Steve, I actually popped. I don't have the Steve influence, but in the announcement took me into the top 20 on the ApeChain leaderboard as well.
Yeah, I mean, to your point on the gold badge, it's better to be prepared and not have it matter than to have it matter and not be prepared. It's like, and it's really simple. I mean, it's really simple. It's just the same way we said, look, with, like up top, we have that link to the Alpine mint. If Yuga drops anything, or if ApeChain drops anything, like that's probably going to matter. They're probably going to care on top of the fact that it actually gets you the opportunity to win some cool prizes and have some cool opportunities. It's like these things that are low-hanging fruit, a free mint of a few things on ApeChain, like, or, a mint here or a mint there. It's one of the reasons why I'm not going to go into it now, but like, we'll talk about it, after I have the video and everything out, is like the OpenSea program is like, it's like for $5 or less, I can complete a bunch of missions that ultimately potentially get me something in OpenSea. Yeah, I'm probably going to participate in that. Like, that's probably something I'm going to, farm away and work on. And I flagged it for multiple people who didn't even know it existed.
Well, and real quick on that is I think a lot of people are expecting all their historical usage on OpenSea to lead to some big TGE whenever they drop C. I'm sure it'll count. I fully expect them to nerf people that aren't playing the game they wanted to play now.
Well, so Adam said so in his. So go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'm going to play the game. I'm not doing a lot of activity. I'm not buying and selling a lot of NFTs. To your point, the voyages, they're not that much. You might have to buy $5 of a token, and you could immediately resell it. Like, it's capital-wise, it's not capital intensive, but I think those who don't play the game are going to get nerfed. Even if like maybe they get something because they should reward usage and that historical usage. But for those that are just fading the platform going forward, it makes sense for them not to reward those people who are just, most people are going to dump the token. But yeah, I think if you're anticipating any sort of an OpenSea airdrop, I think you're doing it wrong if you don't check off the boxes that are relatively light lifts.
Yeah, Adam in his announcement post that he put out had said there's like at least 3 key things you should be paying attention to. Thing number 1, historical activity will count. He said that. Thing number 2, current activity will count. So are you using the platform? So if you're buying and selling, you might as well be on OpenSea, right? Because they have something coming. And then thing number 3 is that questing in those voyages and those rewards, because they want people to use the different things in their platform. So I'm doing it. I'm getting involved with it. Like, there's certain ones like, again, that abstract, wall, like some of the Kaido ones, like they're just no brainers for me as I exist in this space. Why not? So anyway, I think that's, something. Let's put a pin in the OpenSea one just because I think there's probably more to discuss there as we continue to go. Maybe we'll see if we can get Adam on the show in the coming weeks, talk about that a little bit. We'll figure out if we want to have the mysterious guest talked about today on this week or even maybe next week on Monday. We shall see. Going to be a funky one for me. Tomorrow, I'm in late. I know I told you that, Cap, but for people to be aware, we'll be in a little late tomorrow. Have a really cool thing for my son. Recognition, a big recognition at school for him that I'm going to go to tomorrow. So I'm excited about that. Then his, a fifth grade graduation to attend after that. So on Wednesday, so I'll be off a little early. So coming in late tomorrow, leaving early on Wednesday. It's going to be a wacky week. The next week I'm traveling to Seattle, but it shouldn't miss a show. It's just going to be super early for me. NFT NYC. Before you know it, we're going to be through June. So can't wait, Cap. A lot to do, but summer just getting started. Although here in the Midwest, I was wearing a winter hat walking my dog yesterday because that's how the weather has been. So fun times. First year that me and Dawn have said, like, we're over this shit and maybe it's time to think about moving, but probably at least waiting another 8 years on that. So we shall see. But
last thing in the billionaire war games, just hot off the presses, 9:53. James Wynn, alleged billionaire, is asking for donations now. You can't make this stuff up, Steve. Only in crypto. A billionaire just posted his wallet and asked if you want to help fight the market making cabal and support me, send USDC to this address. Assuming I win, everyone will send one of their back of their money.
Like, why? Like, it's like even sending them back their money. Like, so I send you money for the chance for you to make money, and then maybe I'll get refunded exactly what I gave you. That doesn't sound like a very good deal. That sounds very one way.
Ashley wins the comment, says, men used to go to war, now they beg for USDC on the timeline. I can't even, like, I guess I'll just wrap it with my earlier point. There's definitely something more than meets the eye here with Mr. James Wynn and Binance, and it's just, I don't think it's just a random degen gambling hundreds of millions of dollars away. I think there's something else happening here. I know I'm not the only one that thinks this, but this is going to be a developing story, I feel.
Yeah. No, we'll see. Pay attention to it. I'm sure a bunch of people are going to send him money because that's how it works in this space, and that's how they roll. But that said, Cap, let's let everyone sail off into their day. Appreciate everyone who came through this morning. As mentioned, I'll be on a little late tomorrow. I'll be out a little early on Wednesday, rest of the week normal, and then it gets wacky for me coming in June. But thanks to everyone who came through this morning. Appreciate ApeChain for our initial launch on our sponsorship. Really enjoying and looking forward to highlighting more builders, doing that daily market update, and getting them involved. We'll talk to everybody bright and early tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Eastern time. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, everybody.
Thanks for tuning into Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeCoin. We hope you enjoyed the show, and remember, nothing we discussed today is financial advice. Until next time, keep exploring, stay curious, and we'll see you soon. Have a great day.
Welcome to the future.